Sanji's Siren Song, Chapter 3 The Delphine. Captain Andrina, Ashira has awoken, and she is on deck, the medical officer of the Delphine called out, 3 days after they had set sail from Baratier. Excellent. Thank you, Medica, Adrena replied, heading over to where Ashira sat. Hello, Ashira. I am the captain of the Delphine, and my name is Adrena. Do you know what is happening? Adrena stated, sitting down next to Ashira. Kind of. I remember turning up to Baratier and finding out from Papa Z that Sanji had left. My heart felt like it was being torn in two. And there was something to do with my mate's song. I'm feeling stronger too. Oh, please call me Ash if you like. Ash ticked the points off her fingers and trailed off, looking over the railing. Andrina took a deep breath, as for these situations, she felt that it was better to get it over and done with quickly, and then to ask questions at the end if needed. Yes, it has to do with your mate's song. I'm sure you read the book I gave Zeph and understand what you need to do. You need to find out if your human actually returns your affection and love through both words and actions. And I mean sex, my dear. That is a must. If he does return your affections, then you will not need to worry about the situation any longer. It will be the rest of his poor crew that you will have to take pity on, as I have seen mates be locked in a room, fucking almost non-stop, for over a week when the bond was first forged. Please remind me to supply the crew of the Growing Mary with earplugs before you leave. But the most important thing is, my dear, if he does not return your affection and love, then there is not much hope, I'm afraid. Your bond has been set for too long, and cannot be broken. You will die. Adrena finished on almost a whisper. Ashira looked at Adrena with wide eyes. Okay, good chat. I'm screwed then, just throw me overboard now. Sanji has only ever looked at me as a sister. As it was, Zeph and I had to prearrange my first encounter with a man. Let me guess. All the moronic males in Baratier kept offering Zeph money for you? Adrena questioned. Yes, actually. Zeph set me down and covered the basics of human attraction and sex. Ashira laughed at the memory. He even made note of starting with, now dear, I haven't got the faintest clue on how it works with sirens, but I have a book on its way to help with that. Then he continued on. May I ask who it was that you and Zeph decided upon? Adrena asked in a quiet voice. We had it down to two. Redhead Shanks and Dracul Mihawk. Zeph contacted them both. I didn't really want to know who would show up, so we left it as kind of a surprise. I believe Mihawk's answer was, I thank you for the offer, but I am not in a position to accept at the moment, and I believe that I would be more than frighten the poor thing. Zeph told me that after Shanks left, Ashira finished, looking at the cloudless blue sky. What is wrong, Ash? Adrena probed. You need to turn the boat more towards starboard, Ash mused. Adrena nodded to her crew to make the course adjustment. We're getting closer to your mate then. Chapter 4 The Oceanites. Captain, Baratier in sight, the crow's nest called down to Captain Diana Still. Steer her in, lads. Let's see what we can find here, the captain replied, rubbing his hands together. Welcome to Baratier. How many for lunch? The server greeted. 5, and the best table this dump has. Stettel chortled as they followed the greeter down the stairs and into one of the booths. Your waiter will be with you in a minute, the greeter nodded and threw a pointed glance to one of the many other staff members who scurried out to the kitchen to give Zeph a heads up on the fact that trouble may be brewing in the dining room. Zeph came out of the kitchen and walked over to the table. Welcome to Baratier, gentlemen. Captain Zeph! This is what has become of you. I thought you would have become a pirate again. Sally laughed. Well, I had the lad to look after, so I put me pirating days behind me, Zeph replied curtly. What brings you back this way of the East Blue? Zeph questioned. I heard that a whole ship of mermaids passed by this way a few days ago. I'm on the hunt for a new trophy for my ship, and was hoping you could give me the direction they went, Stella stated, putting his feet up on the table and crossing his ankles. Really? I didn't hear any mermaids coming this way. Can't help with that. But what about some of the best prime rib in the East Blue? Zeph stated, shutting down the conversation. Some of that prime rib sounds great, Stella agreed, watching Zeph head back to the kitchen. Psst. A small boy popped his head up by Stella's left elbow. What's in it for me? Mouse squeaked. How about some berry and a place on my crew? Stella offered. Okay. The ship is real, it's called the Delphine, and I can show you the direction, Mouse blurted out in one breath. Crew, back to the Oceanades, Stella ordered. Chapter 5. The Going Merry. Sanji reached out to touch the shoulder of the person he was following, but all he managed to do was run his fingers through the violently purple hair that fell down to her waist. But it managed to get her attention. She turned her ocean blue eyes and smiled to his own bright blue ones. Sanji, where are you? Ashir asked. Right where I want to be, Ashi love, Sanji replied, running his hands down Ashira's sides to kneel in front of her and begins to pull down her pants and panties. Sanji groans and rolls over in bed when he realizes that due to the dream, he has woken up with a cock stand so hard that he needs to break one off before washing up and heading to the galley to start making breakfast for the crew. Thanks for breakfast, Sanji! Luffy bounced out of the galley later that morning and heads out on deck. Sanji smiles at his captain, but suddenly groans, keeling over and grabbing his chest. Sanji, are you okay? Nami asks the cook. You've been distracted all morning, Nami continued. I'm good, darling, Sanji replied, quickly standing up straight and wiping down the island bench to cover the pain he was in. I just feel as if I'm missing something, he continued, ignoring the concerned look in Nami's eyes. Okay, Nami replied, giving Sanji a strange look before heading to the wheel. Ashira, I miss you, girl, Sanji whispered once Nami had disappeared out of the door. 2 days later. Hey Sanji, are you feeling any better? Luffy asked as Sanji dropped a fishing line over the side. I noticed that you seem a little distracted the last couple of days. I'm alright, Sanji replied with a shrug, taking note of the fact that it was the second crew member in as many days to use the word distracted. Just feeling as if I'm missing something, and I keep thinking about a friend I left back at Baratie, Sanji continued. Luffy nodded his head, seemingly to understand. Hey, what is that? Luffy questioned, pointing at a little black dot that was quickly getting bigger. No idea, but it looks like another ship, Sanji responded, as Luffy yelled to Nami to grab her telescope for a closer look. Sanji continues to squint at the ever-gaining ship as the straw hats around him scramble to prepare for any sort of confrontation. It begins to whistle a clear and melodic tune, which makes the crew stop and listen. Sanji finishes the tune on a sonorous note and turns to look at the stunned crew. Luffy cannot help himself and asks no one in particular, Did you know he could do that? Nami shushes Luffy with a wave of her hands as a reply is heard from over the water. The same tune, but this time sung, yet also being woven into another person singing, to which Usopp comments, sighing, That is the most beautiful sound I've ever heard, as he moves to double check that the anchor of the Going Merry is dropped and secure. Sanji smiles and turns to the crew. I think I know who it is. Is it the girl you've been moaning about in your sleep lately, waiter? Zoro replies upon seeing the hope and the ever-widening grin on Sanji's face. Well, I want to meet her, Luffy announces and commands, Usopp, check the anchor. Already done, Usopp sighs. Once the Delphine has come alongside the Going Merry and a makeshift gangplank created between the two ships, Andrina stands on her side and announces, My name is Captain Andrina, and this is my vessel, the Delphine. I wish to address your captain. Luffy puts his hand up in the air and remains quiet. Captain Monkey D. Luffy, I ask your permission to board the Going Merry. Adrena waited for Luffy's reply. May I ask why you have chased us down in the middle of the East Blue for? It must be of great importance. Adrena smiles. My crew are made up of sirens, Captain, and we offer a service of transport to other sirens who are unable to swim to get to where they need to be. I am transporting such a person now. I believe Sanji knows my client. Her name is Ashira, and she is dying. I am bringing her to her mate. Adrena finished pointedly fixing her gaze at Sanji. Well then, you are more than welcome to come aboard the Going Merry, Luffy replies, just as Sanji's face loses its colour. Dying? She can't be. He shakes his head as Adrena appears at his side and whispers, Look and see, Sanji. Hello, Sanji, Ashira whispers from where she's standing on the Delphine. Sanji's head whips up and takes in the sight of the girl that grew up with him and who occupies a place in his heart. Sanji noted that her hair had lost some of its vibrancy. If possible, her skin was even paler, and she looked like she needed to eat. Luffy noticed the look on Sanji's face. How about we get you a crush there, Ashira, and we can all go down to the galley for a snack and something to drink? Sanji, how about you go down and get started, and we can bring the ladies, mermaids, sirens down? Luffy commands. Adrena laughs at Luffy's cuteness. How about you just call us sirens? Thank you, Captain, Luffy replies. Zoro, you might need to help there, Luffy continues, motioning to Ashira as Zoro strides over to the Delphine to pick Ashira up bridal style. Oh, is this the Roronoa Zoro, the famous pirate hunter? Ashira grins. At your service, ma'am, Zoro replies. Well, you might want to get me into the galley before Sanji realizes that you are the one who has to carry me down there, Ashira jokes. Zoro simply smiles. Adrena walks into the galley and notices that Sanji is pacing the floor while trying to put some snacks together and muttering to himself. Her favorite is, where is it? Sanji, stop, Adrena states. She can't be dying. She just looks like she's suffering from a fever or a cold, Sanji exclaims. When was the last time Ashira had a cold? Sirens don't normally have sickness. Before the others come in, you might want to read this. Adrena replies, handing Sanji Zeph's letter. Why would I want to read a letter from that old zip? Sanji exclaims. Because it explains what is going on with me, Ashira states. As Zoro walks through the galley door with Ashira still in his arms. Oi! Put her down, mosshead! Sanji strides over and grabs Ashira out of Zoro's arms. Ashira promptly buries her nose into Sanji's neck, breathes deeply and groans. Oh, Sanji, you smell divine. I feel somewhat better. Read Zeph's letter. It will all make sense. Oh, darling, I have missed you, Sanji replied, placing Ashira down on the bench. Please, help yourselves to the snacks, Sanji announced to the room before turning around and noticing that everyone had disappeared from the galley, leaving him and Ashira alone. Read the letter, Sanji, Ashira stated. Sanji nodded, sat down, and began reading.